On February 23rd, 2024, Kevin Garnett casually mentioned the elephant in the room, namely LeBron James taking performance-enhancing drugs. Kevin said, quote, his dad, referring to Bronny's dad, LeBron, is on that Balco, he on that new juice. And this is from the KG certified edition of the All the Smoke podcast, which has a significant reach of 919,000 subscribers. I am recording this episode over 2 weeks later because I wanted to wait and see if there weren't any late entrants into the conversation, especially in light of the fact that LeBron just hit 40,000 points on March 2nd. So not even 10 days from the publishing of the episode, LeBron James hit 40,000 points, and this was on March 2nd. And so what this does is it provides an easy way for anybody to broach the topic of performance enhancers and steroids and LeBron James. And yet none of the mainstream media outlets, none of the big sports outlets that talk about basketball touched upon the subject. And let's go over them. ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, NBC Sports, The Athletic, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, Yahoo Sports, TMZ Sports. I could not find any articles in Google News from any of these outlets. I didn't hear about any tweets, nothing from all of these mainstream media outlets that cover basketball. Also, some of the more independent outlets, Bill Simmons and the Ringer Podcast Network, Stephen A. Smith and his podcast that's on YouTube, and Stephen A. Smith has 580,000 subscribers. Gil's Arena with 547,000 subscribers. Nothing here. In fact, I listened to an episode of Gil's Arena where they had a segment on LeBron hitting 40,000 points. They made some facial expressions, but none of them would touch the subject. And then also, notably, the NBA subreddit, which has 10 million subscribers, there are no threads for this, and we didn't hear anything from the NBA on TNT, so Charles Barkley wasn't doing any truth-telling on this. But who actually touched the topic? Well, we have Jason Whitlock with 442,000 subscribers on YouTube. Deadspin wrote multiple articles. YardBarker had an article. I think they republished this from another blog, but still, they had content on it. Black Sports Online a few days ago had a brief article on it. Hoops Hype had a blurb on it, but I believe this was a link from an aggregator, but I still give them credit because they had it on their website. Fox News covered it. Fox Sports Radio had an in-depth write-up, and then MSN, the general news outlet for Microsoft, had an article. And then there was actually a thread on the Boston Celtics subreddit, but curiously, the original poster deleted their user account. So that happened. So why is all of this so relevant? Well, because LeBron James is in his 21st season, he's age 39, and he's just reached another milestone that nobody in history has ever done before. Also, in his 21st season, he is still playing at a very high level. He's got 56 games played, and this is about out of, let's just say 62. He's averaging 35 minutes per game, 25 points per game, almost 53% from the field, 40.5% from three, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists. He's doing this all at age 39 in his 21st NBA season. Everybody talks about his longevity, but no one will broach the topic of whether or not he's taking performance-enhancing drugs. Of course, comments on YouTube videos have already run away with this, and this is just something that's common sense. You know, we've already had Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in the past, and now we're watching it again, but yet again, we're pretending like this isn't a relevant conversation. Why is this topic so forbidden? And what's especially interesting about Bill Simmons is in 2013, he wrote a Grantland article where he talked about just bringing up performance-enhancing drugs and steroids and asking the questions instead of being afraid and being silent on the matter. And that's what we have now, is just all of these media outlets, even though we have something that's definitely newsworthy, right? Kevin Garnett saying that LeBron James is on steroids, they've chosen to ignore the topic. And if he isn't on steroids, then it's conversation worthy anyway. So the discussion would be, how are you doing it? What are your workouts? You know, we know that LeBron has put out there that he spends $1 million a year on his health or whatever it is, but what exactly are you doing? Because you seem to have found the fountain of youth. What are your secrets to hard work? What is your diet? What are you doing? How come nobody is asking the questions? And if one thing that is definitely a possibility is we have a mastery of performance enhancing drugs, because it's not like LeBron is the first or only player to have ever possibly taken performance enhancing drugs. So when we look at other players, it's like nobody's lasted this long. So maybe he has figured out something that no one else has, in that he's mastered performance enhancing drugs. We've seen his contemporaries retire years ago and their play fell off well before that. And yet LeBron just keeps going and going. So this conversation is an easy one, and what's going to end up happening is all of these mainstream media outlets are going to look really bad when it actually does come out, because when it does come out, they will all be implicated. They will all be complicit in the LeBron James performance enhancing era, and none of them would touch it. It's not even that they don't have to say that he's on performance enhancers, but of all the conversations to be had, no one's bringing it up. Why is nobody bringing it up? That's the question, because we have some of these independent outlets that are not beholden to anyone. The Ringer Podcast Network, Bill Simmons has editorial control over all of the content. Gil's Arena, Gil is his own person. It's Gilbert Arenas, typically Kenya Martin, and sometimes Brandon Jennings or others. They don't have to answer to anybody. So why is everybody not even asking? Why is it not even able to be talked about? And that in itself tells you that there is something off here, because we have a blanket silence from all of these mainstream media outlets when something newsworthy definitely occurred. Kevin Garnett made it. That opens the door to anybody talking about it, and yet nobody did.